Hosni Mubarak has been president of Egypt for 18 years. He succeeded Anwar Sadat. He is in Washington for conferences with President Clinton, Vice President Gore, Secretary of State Albright, members of Congress, and leaders of the business community. We talked with him earlier today at Blair House about the prospects for peace in the Middle East and other issues of concern to him and the world. Mr. President, thank you for joining us again on this program. You have met with the President yesterday. The subject, I assume, is the Middle East and more specifically Syria. You don't believe the meeting between Clinton and Assad was a failure, yet they seem to be far apart.
I cannot say it's a failure, but it reached a point which needs much more effort. I think when I heard that President Clinton was going to meet with President Assad, I thought, like anybody in the world, that everything's arranged and there may be a small thing just to overcome in the meeting. Then I was expecting that assumption or assuming that the negotiation will start. When I heard that it reached a deadlock and they didn't reach this goal, I was shocked. I met with the president and we discussed this issue. I knew from him what happened in Geneva, and Barack phoned me also. And I'm intending when I return back, I'll be maybe meeting with Barack after 1 week or 10 days, because I have a big conference in Cairo on the 3rd or 4th of April. Then I'll try to meet with President Assad, see what could be done.
What's the problem? The Israelis say the problem is that he wants to set too many conditions before he's willing to sign an agreement.
No, the point is, Syria, after declaring the proposal of agreement, after the last negotiations, it created hell of problems for the Syrians. Nowadays, the Syrians are not ready to make any concession on the land. It would be very difficult to President Assad to make any concession on the land. That's why I told this to Prime Minister Barack before, and when I meet him, we'll discuss what could be done.
What concessions do the Israelis want on the land?
It seemed near the Tabaria Lake, they want a couple of hundred of meters. It was 10 meters. Some villages near the lake, the water there, some problems in that sense. I don't want to go through it.
But these seem to be minor problems when you look at the consequences of reaching an agreement.
Each country has its own concern. To make concession on land, Assad will be responsible before his people. For example, I'll tell you something happened with Egypt. When the طابا issue was raised, they asked me to take طابا and to compensate me with other land in the Naqb. I told them, I cannot. It's not my personal land. It is the land of the people. I have to go to the parliament. The parliament will never agree on that. So we went to the court. And we won the case. We took طابا. It seems that they asked them to compensate them with other part of the land, but I don't think Assad will agree. But this, they could negotiate it if both sides would agree on that.
There is the impression in some places that there is Assad is not making an agreement, the president of Syria, because of domestic issues. Perhaps succession, perhaps his own health, perhaps whatever.
Look, on health, Assad was in Geneva. If it's a matter of health. I met with Assad, he met me in the airport. And we had 2 hours talks in Damascus. Then we had dinner together. Then went with me to the airport the second day. It is not a matter of health. But the point is, Assad wants peace. But he cannot accept any kind of peace. Because he will bear the responsibility before his people. And anybody could think that Assad, whenever he say, we will make this concession, he will be accepted. No. Even it is difficult for Assad to make any concession on any centimeter of the land. It is not his own property. This is the problem.
Do you think that's the way he sees it?
I think that.
That he can't make a concession because it belongs to the people of Syria? That's the issue for him? Or is it for him a consideration that he has to make sure that he gets as much as the Egyptians got when they made an agreement to get the Sinai back?
Shárlí, you are going through difficult questions. Egypt will have taken back all our occupied territory.
Right.
He won't take also his occupied territory even more. Otherwise, why did he stay for about 20 years after the Camp David Accord, after our peace agreement? So making concessions, it is not in his mind.
Why not, though? Help me understand Assad.
He cannot, Shárlí. How can I give concession on a land which belongs to the country? I'd be an infidel, a betrayer, betray the people.
He's a dictator.
Look, even if you say he's a dictator, he has no right to make concession. The people will stand against him. His party will stand against him.
His party?
Yes. This is the impression which some people in the West think that Assad is a dictator and Assad could take any decision. No. Believe me.
No?
No. I disagree with this point.
What's the countervailing force to Assad's will in Syria?
What's it?
Why can't he just take a decision? He controls the country.
He controls the country through his people, through his party. He has sometimes opposition in his party. It's unseen, but it's difficult.
You are very sensitive to the economic development of Egypt. You have done a series of positive things to connect your country with globalization. Why doesn't Assad do that? Why don't you convince him that if he makes peace and opens up...
Look, Shárlí, don't compare Egypt with Syria. We have differences in nature and the way we're controlling our country. He has his own system. We have our own system. We made reforms on an economy. He needs to make reform in his economy, but he needs peace. And he is willing for peace.
But peace is the way to reform the economy.
It's peace, but not with concessions.
How does Israel and Syria get past this difficulty over concessions?
There should be flexibility. Israel should realize that the acquisition of land by force is not feasible. They should give them back all the occupied territory which has been occupied in 1967. Without that, it would be very difficult for Assad to accept.
And so what would
Saying Assad dictator, not dictator, this is none of my business, but I tell you, he cannot, as a person, as a head of a state, as well as I am, cannot give concession on anything of the land.
You know that Prime Minister Barack would say to you, my friend, Mr. President, I have these two issues that are of utmost concern. I have no problem giving back the land in exchange for peace.
Yes.
I, as a Prime Minister of Israel, he would say to you, need two things.
Yes.
I need control of the water, one. Two, I need security. I need security. I need to protect, because twice in history, Syrian troops have come over the Golan.
Look, if it is the matter of the water, I think it is negotiable between the Syrians and the Israelis. No problem for that. If the matter of securities, it is also negotiable. We did the same thing with Menachem Begin.
Right.
With Menachem Begin, we did the same. Security measures were being taken. We agreed upon it. We didn't feel that. For the water, they should negotiate this issue, which is very important for both sides.
But my impression is that they don't want to negotiate until there's a firm commitment on the part of Israel to give back the Golan.
Look, they should have the impression at least that the territories are going to be given back.
And then negotiate about...
And to continue negotiations. In the course of negotiations, right. To understand this.
Do you believe that Barack and his position is any different from the position of your friend, the late Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, and the conversations he had with you?
Oh, look, Charlie, don't make me make comparison between both. I had good relations with Yitzhak Rabin, and the same thing with Barak. I don't want to make any comparison.
But you have made...
Yehuda Barak is very flexible, very good man. I like him very much. We make contacts every now and then. We help in the peace process. But to make comparison, please, I don't want to go through this issue.
Okay, but you'll tell me, you've said to me and you have said publicly to other people that Yitzhak Rabin told you he was prepared to give up the Golan.
I tell you very frankly, Yitzhak Rabin told me privately. I didn't release it till Barak came. He told me, Mr. Mubarak, I am ready to give back the Golan. But I would like to know what I'm going to take back in return from Syria. I took this to President Assad, and I told him the story. The man didn't say no. That means it is working in his mind. I told him he will ask for the same measures which happened with us. He didn't say no. That gives you an indication that the man is willing for peace with the same conditions.
How many years ago was that?
1 year before the assassination of Rابin.
So in all those intervening years, nothing has happened.
Because we had the period of Netnyahu. Netnyahu, everything was freezed. Even our relation with Israel nearly was reached a deadlock. Commercial relations, other relations.
Are you satisfied with Israeli withdrawal from the West Bank?
Look, we reached agreements in Sharm el-Sheikh, and Barak promised that he is going to implement the agreement. He told me the 6.1 part of the land, he's going to give it on such a date. He did it.
He did it.
Then 23rd of May, he's going to do something else. The 23rd of June, he's going to do other things. And the 13th of September, he will reach an agreement for comprehensive settlement.
Why is this so hard? Explain to, as a man of the Middle East, as a man who has been in power for 18 years and have seen these discussions with so many prime ministers and so many leaders, why can't you?
Because we had different prime ministers, each with his own conception. Shامir is a man who doesn't want to give 1 inch of the land. Rابin was very flexible. He is very realistic. He implemented an agreement. I sat with him several times. I told him privately, how the problem with the Middle East could reach an end. The man listened to me, and I told him, I'm not asking you to do what I'm telling you. I'm just giving you different ideas, and you have to discuss and find what's feasible for you. So Rابin was a very flexible man, and I think we lost this man when he died. Secondly, came Netnyahu with a completely different conception. The man doesn't want to give 1 inch of the land to anybody. And he was considering us as enemies. In one of his speeches, he said, our enemies in the south. It was shocking for us. We signed peace agreement. We were dealing with each other. We have ambassadors. We have embassies. We have tourism going here and there. Then when we heard that he's saying our enemies in the south, it makes the people very furious.
Do you believe now, because Prime Minister Rابin has been in power for this time since he was elected, that it is back on track as it was when you had very good relations? Yes.
Now?
Yes.
I think it's back on track, although there are some complications, but I think it's on its way to be solved.
What are the complications?
Complications on implementing the agreement. When to do this, he had some problems within his government, with the coalition.
Sure.
This is the problem.
With the Shas.
But the man with the Shas and others. But, for example, Sharansky,
Yes.
is coming from the Soviet Union. He said, I came from a very big country. I'm coming to a small country. I'm not ready to make any concession to give back any land. Some concepts he's meeting some of the problems.
Yeah.
I hope that God help him that we could implement what happened, because peace is so precious that we could make anything for that.
What would be for you,
For you personally?
personally,
Or for Egypt?
for you personally, the great accomplishment? What would you like to do that would be the most important thing you could accomplish?
All what I'm doing in our country is very important things. I took the country after 4 wars in a very bad state. There was no infrastructure in Egypt. There was no electricity, the sewage system was terribly deteriorated. Water supplies was not enough to reach the houses. Houses are not enough for the people. Telephone lines were not available. For example, electricity, when I took office, the production of electricity was 18 billion kilowatt per hour. When the revolution came in 1952, it was only 1 billion. When I took office, 18 billion. Now, 105 billion kilowatt hour in 18 years.
It would seem to me that what you have tried to accomplish and would be a model for what can be done in the Middle East, to what you can do if you could get past these hurdles that prevent peace.
Look,
For everybody.
for peace we are working for it. But for our country, I'm looking for the high tech, the
High tech.
technology.
Yeah.
We are working very hard to make transfer of technology from the United States to Egypt, participating with so many companies.
Yeah.
I have a big good conference on Monday.
Yeah.
I was in Virginia. I listened to very good lectures. We are working hard. We are going to make training for thousands.
Okay, explain that to me, because it's important, because you're also meeting with the Secretary of Commerce here, Secretary Daly.
Look, the world is changing very quickly.
That's what I want to hear.
The world is changing very quickly. There's the internet. There's so many things, not the traditional systems to work for trade and everything. We are looking forward for our economy to boom. We cannot boom without looking to the high tech.
How long do you want to be president?
I hope. How long I want to be a president?
Yes.
God knows. It's a very hard work in our country. It's not easy to be a president in our country. I hope when I finish my term, I could retire to have some rest. I've been for 18 years, very hard work.
Are you more optimistic today than you have ever been?
I'm always optimistic. I never been pessimistic at all. If I'm pessimistic, I will never achieve any success.
What would you change about the dynamics of the Middle East today? If you could change something, I mean, what is it that's missing?
Concerning what?
Search for peace.
It's an ongoing process. We are working hard for it. We are trying, with the help of the United States, to narrow the gap between the parties. Because we all need peace to prevail in the whole area. We all need to have our area clear for the mass destructive weapons. We need, all of us, we need our area to be friends, deal with each other, trade, cooperate in different fields.
Let me tell you what the Deputy Defense Minister of Israel said to me last night on my program in New York. He said about the Syrians, just for a moment, he said that they are convinced it's because of domestic considerations, domestic political considerations, whether they have to do with succession or other kinds of pressures that prevent President Assad from making a deal.
But he wanted to make a deal, but without concessions, I told you before.
Right.
This is a very important point. Concession, Assad will never be able to give concession on the land. This in our area, in the Arab world, is a grave mistake. I told you an example between طابا.
Yes.
The people were very furious. They thought that I'm going to give them back طابا and take another area instead. But I cannot do that.
You know what's interesting to me is that whether you believe
Or not.
or not, Americans understand the Arab mind. Do most of the American leaders that you meet, without specific reference, understand what your or other leaders' pressures are?
I think the Americans, most of them whom I meet with, the President of the United States, some friends in the Congress understand that very well. But there's a very important point. Israel, although it is living among the Arab world for quite a long time, till now, I don't mean Barak, they are still don't understand the Arab mentality.
What
they need to understand, I'm not going to go through details. They should understand from the culture of the Arab countries, their mentality, how they think, what could they do, are they capable to make concessions or land or no? They should understand this reality. If they understood it, it would be much easier for us, all of us.
Okay, but can you tell me what you're talking about when you say they don't understand the Arab mentality? What is it they don't understand?
They cannot understand how to deal with the Arabs without making them hate them or be in bad terms with them.
So if you were advising them, what would you say?
I usually speak with Barak.
Right.
And even with Rabin before. Rabin used to listen to me, Barak used to listen to me, Netnyahu used to listen, but he never do anything.
And listen to you, try to explain to them.
I explained them
what it is.
How could you deal with Arabs? How we as Arabs think or make assessing to any problem is different from that of the Israelis.
Do you think the Arabs understand the Israelis?
I think we understand the Israelis very well, at least the Egyptians.
Deputy Defense Minister Schnee told me last night that his fear, more than anything, more than Egypt, more than Syria, more than any terrorist organization, was the fact that Iran may be close to getting an atomic bomb.
Maybe an excuse so as not to ask them to remove all the mass destructive weapons from Israel. Yeah. Maybe.
But that's
Iran is a big country.
Yes.
We hope that all mass destructive weapons could be removed from the whole area, at least to make the people secured, feel secured, including Israel, Iran, and the others, and to be very well watched not to develop all these kind of arms.
The Israelis will never do that because they feel like they're isolated and surrounded.
Whenever peace prevails, what kind of isolation they are going to speak of?
Do you not worry if Iran has the atomic weapons of mass destruction?
All of us will worry about any kind of mass destructive weapons in the area because it could reach any country.
Do you think one country is more likely to use them than another?
You never know.
You never know. You never know the pressures.
You never know.
You never know how leadership will change.
You never know what could happen. Any mad leader could use these mass destructive weapons. Any unstable one could use the mass destructive weapons, and they create a lot of problems in the whole area. So it is better to remove when peace prevails and the Middle East problem is finished. I think all mass destructive weapons should be removed. So at least to make the people feel secured in all the area, including the Israeli people.
Do you think that it is fair for the Iranians and who are working on atomic weapons to say, as long as Israel has atomic weapons, why shouldn't we have them? Is that a reasonable argument?
I think it's fair for all the people all over the area.
What's the state of the battle against terrorism?
Terrorism is an international phenomenon, as I said before.
Yeah.
When I the first time said it in the United States, said, oh, Now Mubarak is saying that because he's some kind of terrorism in his country. Now it's an international phenomenon. What's in Egypt, like what's in the United States, like what in any country else.
Sure.
We are controlling this kind of terrorism with all our might.
There is no question you're right about that,
Yeah.
because the CIA and the National Security Council and other forces have uncovered the links between one terrorist organization and another. And the people that came through Seattle that were arrested had links to other people in the Middle East.
Are they from the Middle East?
And from Afghanistan and other places. Now, other places. Is the threat of terrorism less today than it was 3 years ago?
Look.
Because you've had assassination attempts. You know it firsthand.
Yes, several times. Once in Ethiopia, once another in Port Said and other places. And all the leaders who have the courage to make decisions are subjected to any kind of assassination. I would like to say, I have launched an initiative that there should be an international conference to make restrictions or to make measures for terrorism so as to avoid this all over the world. Because there are countries who hoist these terroristic people there, and they are working from their countries against other countries by financing, by orders, by creating problems. The Luxor incident, instructions was coming from Afghanistan.
Right.
The money was being paid through an European country to another second one until it reached these people, hired to make terrorism.
So why can't you convene an international conference?
They should come out with some kind of regulations how to deal with any terrorist group who has been hoisted in any country.
Do you believe that Iran is on a path to moderation? I mean, to moderation and modernization?
I think with the new government, with the new reformers, I hope that they are moving towards moderation. But I have to wait and see.
Because they don't seem to be responsive to the latest Western initiatives.
Look, in Iran there are moderates and still there are extremists there. Until the time the moderates are overcoming all these problems, I think Iran is a big country which we should deal with.
We should what?
Deal with.
Yeah.
And I think the United States is starting to open dialogue with Iran.
President Chirac of France said to me a month ago that it's almost immoral what is happening to the children of Iraq because of sanctions and embargo.
He told you that?
Yes.
I'm still saying the same thing. We have to look after the children and the people of Iraq because they're suffering from lack of medicine, lack of food.
Is the United States not responsive to those arguments?
I have discussed this with the president yesterday and several times before. They're trying to find a new formula for that.
What might that be?
I cannot tell you. They are still discussing this.
But you make clear that you feel like something has to be done.
Yes, and I told the president, and I'm going to tell in the Congress whenever I'm asking about this, something should be done for the welfare of the people. The people are suffering. Lack of medicine, lack of food, children are dying. It's very vital. Because even after this regime leaves the office, the leaders will be from these people who are suffering. So if we don't look after them, they will not be very good people.
And you create a whole age group of people who are angry at the West and angry at the United States because of what happened to them.
Yeah, you'll be very angry with that. So
why haven't they been able to find the formula? What's the president's response?
Look, ask the United States, not ask me. I'm not America. I'm not a great nation. I'm telling you some ideas, that's all.
But the president listens and he's responsive.
He listens to me, and I think the State Department is thinking over about a new formula for that.
What do you think of President Clinton?
He's a very good man.
Smart.
Smart. He honors his word. I like him very much. He listens very well.
Has he been an effective president for the Middle East?
For sure. Very, very effective in a lot of efforts. I raise my hat for him.
It's always good to have you on this program. Thank you very much. We
Thank
look
you.
forward to returning to Cairo.
Thank you.
Thank
We'll
you
see
so
you in
much.
Cairo then.
Yes. Thanks so much.